So this is the handover for the Summit Prime 600. We'll begin on the outside of the vehicle with the fuel system. You'll notice you've got an external flap, it's not affected by the central locking. Use the ignition key in, twist, and that enables you then to hang the filler onto the end and obviously fill up with fuel. When you unlock the vehicle, on the end of the dashboard you have your bonnet release. Below the floor you have got your engine battery. Vehicle toolkit kept elsewhere within the vehicle. The bonnet release, centrally located, squeeze up on the paddle underneath, put your bonnet stay up, and you've then got access to your screen wash fluid over on the left hand side, and then your brake, engine and power steering reservoirs, along with your oil filler and oil dipstick. Should you ever need to jump start the vehicle, we've pre-set this one, but you have a little cap here that you pull up. You would attach your positive onto that paddle just there, and then the negative onto the bolt just there, and that would enable you then to jump start the vehicle if it was required. So on the side of the body you've got your main hookup point. You would always make sure that you plug into the side of the van first of all, so lift the cable into the 90-degree position, push in nice and firmly, and then connect to your land power supply. Ventilation exhaust for the heating, for the blowing air, and for the water heating, so you might get a condensation plume coming out or out that if you're using it onto gas. In your toolkit you'll have a fitting which goes onto here, which enables you to open and close this wastewater outlet. So all the water from your shower tray, your vanity unit and your kitchen sink is going to go into one holding tank. There's a marker that comes up on the control panel and enables you to empty it. And then your Dometic toilet cassette. Make sure that the slider is shut internally. You should be able to lift up on the green lever and then pull the whole body of the cassette right out nice and firmly. On a campsite you'll have collection points for these to go into. So you take the black cap off the top completely, tip the whole thing up, press this lime green button there, and that then allows the waste to drain out of the bottom. Before you load it back in, use around about 50ml to 100ml of base chemical. It's normally green for the Highlands. You can buy it in sachet form as well, and mix that with about 2 litres of water. Swirl it around a couple of times, and then you should then be able to load it back in directly, and it's ready for use. The fresh water filler cap is at the back. Using the smaller key provided, put it in, hose pipe straight into the main tank, and that enables you to fill it up. So with your gas system, we have attached the gas flow device on the outside. So take the cap off, keep it somewhere safe. The gas flow systems have a bayonet connection to them, so when you come to fill up, you'll clip the bayonet from the hook over onto these 2 little spines there. You usually have to twist on the mechanism, and then you can start to squeeze the trigger and fill the system with gas. You can put a minimum amount of gas in, or you can fill the system and it will kick back as if you were filling with diesel or petrol. Once you've completed the process, put the cap back on to protect it from the elements. When you open up, below the bed box you have got your actual gas system. So installed against the back wall we have your 11 kg refill, and that can be turned on using the yellow lever at the top, and that then allows the gas to go through. It goes into your duo crash safe control valve and obviously feeds then into the gas system. Adjacent to that you've got the smaller 3.9 which you can use as an alternative refill system. Whenever you're turning the gas on for either bottle, the one bottle that you're using, you will need to push down firmly to reset the crash safe device so that the gas flow can go through those individual pipes. On the regulator itself, you've got a small orange or yellow feed. Obviously just pressing on that one for a couple of seconds, that allows the regulator to be reset, and then above that you've actually got the duo changeover valve, and you turn that through 90 degrees to engage the opposite system. Actually, I said 90, it's 180 degrees. Underneath the bed at the back, you've also got your fresh water tank access. So there's a label on top which tells you what position to put the tap into. If you turn it through 3/4 of a turn, it'll allow you to keep you to a sort of what we call a travel weight. So it'll keep around about 20% of the water within the system. If you fully turn the black tap, which is just there, then it allows you then to completely dispose of all of the water content within the van. There's an access panel adjacent to it, so if you want to put in sterilizers or cleaners, then you can do so. Further along towards the back, the inside of the van, there's a second flap access which has got access for the water pump. The step controls are just inside the sliding door. You do need to make sure that the step is retracted before you depart with the vehicle. It's not an automatic retraction on these. And when you're operating the sliding blind, preference is to use 2 hands to open and close it rather than just one. When you first come into the van above the sliding door, you've got 3 panels here. Your main 12-volt control panel, your heating and your refrigeration. We'll start with the 12-volt system. To turn the 12-volt on, press and hold this blue button in the center for a couple of seconds. It will bleep at you. And once it's turned itself on, you'll see an immediate display showing you condition of your leisure battery and the approximate fill of your fresh water tank. By selecting the buttons along the bottom, it'll give you feedback as to what condition the batteries are in, including the engine battery, and then your fresh water and wastewater levels, if needs be, interior and exterior temperatures. 3 buttons around the control give you access to your master for your 12-volt system, for your water pump, which you would use on demand, and for the 12-volt supply for the fridge. With regard to the fridge, when you first turn on that symbol on there, it'll activate the 12-volt compressor within, and if you haven't had the fridge on for a period of time, it'll immediately go into performance mode to start chilling the fridge. Overnight, you'll want to quieten the fridge down so that you don't hear the compressor so much. When you put it into quiet mode, it decreases obviously the noise from the compressor, but it also decreases the output into the fridge. Periodically, perhaps on a warm day, you can go onto the boost mode as well, and that will then also step up and improve the performance and cool the fridge further. Manually, you can change the temperature within the fridge by using the temperature gauge at the end, and keep selecting on it, and put it back into performance mode, and manually you can change it from medium to a maximum level. To turn the fridge off, press and hold on the button for a couple of seconds, and the whole appliance should shut down, and you can then turn it off on the control panel as well. The frost protection valve is located underneath the forward-facing seat. You'll need to move away pipe work and cabling around it. You'll see on the casing a blue tap across the top of the casing when it's in a horizontal direction running in parallel with the pipe work underneath, and it's allowing the water system to flow through. In the event of the air temperature in this space dropping below 2 degrees centigrade, it forces the blue tap to open and go across a 90-degree position, and it will drain the water system out. You can manually operate it and do it that way. To reset it, you turn it back through 90 degrees so it's back to the horizontal, and push in the small blue base button at the bottom, and that should allow you then to reset it and repurge and prime the water system. In front of the forward-facing seat, there are 2 panels that you can remove, so one above the other, and they expose the plumbing system. Red for your hot water, blue for the cold water feeds. By turning the tap through 90 degrees, it enables you to start draining the plumbing off of the hot water system. You can then also open up the interior taps as well as the exterior taps to drain the entire water system down in its entirety for frost drain and protection. Turn it back through 90 degrees to begin the process of refilling. Under the bed next to the kitchen unit, you've got a lift-up panel which you can take up, and within that you have got two isolator taps for the gas systems into the van. One is for the hob, one is for the water heating, room heating systems. In the position that they are at the moment, it's allowing the gas flow to flow through. If they turn through 90 degrees, it isolates the supply to that specific appliance. With the gas turned on, it's worthwhile burning some gas off on the hob. There are arrows which then indicate which burners they are connected to. Use a piezo igniter, hold it down for a couple of seconds, and then you should get a nice crisp flame come on, indicating it's lit. Repeat it for the second one, like so. There's no isolation on these glass lids, so this is brought down over the flame. It will continue to burn and it will cause the glass to explode. So make sure that the hob is cooled sufficiently and the gas switched off before you shut the system down. For the taps, purging the water system through, we've got it already now in the drained position because of the cold weather outside. So you'll see that the tap is extended up halfway between the hot and the cold position, and that allows the airflow to go back through the tap device and obviously back through the plumbing to drain the water system off. When you want to reprime the system, you'll need to make sure, first of all, that the drain valve is shut on the water heater, that the red tab is shut on the device underneath the floor panel at the front of the van. Fill up your fresh water tank, and then when your pump is turned on, when you turn the tap to the hot position, it should start to draw water through the water heater. Eventually, you'll end up with a continuous cycle of cold water coming out of the hot taps. Just briefly put it onto the cold water mode. That should come through almost instantaneously, and then repeat with the vanity unit and the shower to get all of the water through the system. With the toilet met system, it's just the lid that's designed to manoeuvre, so just firmly take hold of it and move it into your desired position. Seat up if required. Pull the grey slider forward to open the main waste valve. The flush water on this comes directly from the onboard tank, so when you press the central button, it should do exactly that and draw water and flush it around the inside of the bowl. If the cassette's not loaded correctly, you'll see a warning light come on here. This one shouldn't come on because it's taking a direct feed from your fresh water supply. You've got a partial and a full indicator for the cassette itself. Push the slider back after use, stop any smells or odours coming back up through. The heating system on this is the Truma system, Truma Combi. To turn it on, press and hold in on this central button for a couple of seconds, and you'll see these display characters light up. What I'm going to do is just turn everything down and shut it all off, and this is when you come to the van, this is how it should be. So start off with the heating system. First of all, select this symbol, press the button, and you can increase the temperature to your desired setting up to a maximum of 30 degrees centigrade. Hold in on that one. For a few seconds, this will be solid, and then it will begin to flash as the temperature starts to rise up within the van. When it goes solid on that flame symbol again, then it means that it's sustaining that temperature within the van. It's a similar story for the water. You go on to the temperature gauge symbol just there, and you can have it in an eco mode, which brings the water up to around 40 degrees centigrade, hot mode, which takes the water up to 60, a boost mode, which takes it from 40 to 60, and it temporarily suspends the room heating system. All the time that it's heating up, again, you may well see the symbol flashing on the water temperature one, indicating just that. You have a choice of utilities that you want to use. At the moment, given by the symbol that's up here, that it's in the gas mode. You might use if you were wild camping. Otherwise, if you plugged in onto mains, you have a choice of using either electric 1 or electric 2, which are 900 and 1800 watt electric elements, about 3.5 and 7 amps respectively. Colder weather, you could use a combination of mix 1 or mix 2, and it combines the lower and higher levels of electric along with the gas. It doesn't make the van get any hotter, but it does obviously accelerate the process of water heating or room heating. You've got a fan control on this one as well, so you go onto here. In conjunction with the heating, you can leave it in an eco mode, or you can increase the performance out of the fan. you turn all of your heating settings off, then you can just use the fan on its own. Take it to the vent mode and it will then recirculate the airflow within. Not exactly air conditioning, but at least creating some air movement on a warmer day. Select it again, turn it off, and you can then continue using it as your room heating system. Clock at the bottom, setting on that one to set you up your date, set up your times and minutes, and that can then be used in conjunction with this one to give you a basic timer control for the system cutting in and cutting out for both water heating and room heating systems. Press and hold on the button for a couple of seconds and that enables the system to entirely turn off. Beneath the forward-facing seat, you also have your RCD and battery charger and fuse boxes. For the RCD, having plugged into the main supply, you should be able to lift up and turn on your 12-volt systems. If you want to do a circuit breaker test to make sure the main supply is safe for you to use, press the little yellow tab in at the top and that should immediately trip out. The fuse board alongside are your blade fuses for the interior operation of the van, so things like lights, water pumps, etc. And then the black box is your battery charger. If the green light is on, then it's charging the battery. That's working in conjunction with the solar panel on the roof. Whichever is the more dominant, they will regulate one another. Within the cab, you've got your controls on the door. So at the top, you've got your toggle for your electric mirrors, adjust, and you can then adjust your mirrors accordingly. All 4 mirrors can be manipulated using this system. Electric mirrors sit below that, along with a central locking button as well. For the cab blinds, you've got a mechanism which you just squeeze together the tabs and it magnetically links together, and then you can then draw up the base unit all the way up to the top, like so, to close that one off. Over on the right hand side of the steering wheel, you've got these light controls. So you've got front and rear fog lamps and then a headlamp beam adjustment. The mode button gives you access to your management system for the operation of the vehicle, as far as things like regulating your fuel consumption and unit controls. You've got wiper controls, which are down for intermittent, and then 1, 2 and 3 speed, and use the bezel on the end for the adjustment of the pace of the intermittent, and then back for your screen wash, like so. Steering wheel controls in the middle are connected all up to the head unit, and then your left-hand stalk controls are for your indicators, as well as your headlamps and main beam. There are running light functions on this as well. Lower stalk connects you up to your cruise control or your speed limiter, and you can regulate those settings by using the tab up and down. Line of buttons along the bottom of the unit. So you've got heated mirrors, central locking, hazard light switch, a hill descent and a traction control, ventilation, your speed and your temperature, along with your air conditioning when it's selected, and then your recirculate and fresh air settings, along with your directional settings to the top. USB and 12-volt charging points, along with a second micro USB connection for connection to the head unit as well. Within the dashboard at the front, you've got the top lid that is connected up to the air conditioning in the main part of the vehicle, so consequently you can then use that as a mini fridge when the vehicle's being driven, and then you've got a lower cable down onto there. Clipboard into the centre, pull up nice and firmly onto that one. There's a release lever at the side which unlocks these panels, and you can then use that for holding tablet or mobile phone. Lock them back into position, and you can then put that one away. And then the final additions, we've added on microphones and DAB aerials, and also the tracking system for the satellite navigation into the front of the van. Sincerely hope that you've gained a lot of information on the new Summit Prime 600. If you do have any questions, then obviously please get in contact with us. But hopefully this van's going to give you lots of miles and lots of smiles. On behalf of Hand and Camper Vans, thank you very much.